Okay, I would say we start, even though one hotelier is still missing, but probably he will join us. So welcome everyone to our second session of Corona Talk, Virus versus Hotels. It is a real pleasure to have you all here. Well, Maria and obviously Lena and Daniel have been with us already. But we have the rest is a whole new panel of awesome partners of ours and hoteliers. So we are very happy to have you. I will start with a little introduction of myself and explain a bit what we will talk about today and what the concept's like. And then basically I will try to shut up as much as I can and let our panelists talk. So yeah, I'm Lisa from Hospitality Industry Club. Usually I'm the funny person during the evening camps that we do all over Europe. Now I'm more or less the funny person here at the online sessions. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to inform you all about what's happening right now. Well, the topic today is what has happened so far. We had 2 weeks since we haven't talked basically on this online session. So in 2 weeks during Corona times, a lot of things can happen. And yeah, we want you to let us know what has happened in the last 2 weeks or also the time before. It will be an open discussion in good old evening camp. Do we say manir? We don't, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah, we want you to share your opinions. We want you to share your ideas. We will take this around an hour. Let's see how a conversation goes, but we don't want to overdo it. So I will keep time a bit. Yeah, I will keep track of time so we don't overdo it. But please, everyone, keep it short and simple. So as many people as could be can talk. We have a Q&A for questions. So everyone who's watching right now, feel free to drop questions in the Q&A. We learned from last time, there are a lot of questions and we cannot answer all of them, but Lena from Open Smile, who is the master of technology and Q&As, will have a look on all the questions and probably let us know if there's maybe a good question in between that we could answer. So feel free for the Q&A or to drop questions in the Q&A. Please don't drop them in the chat because otherwise it will be impossible to have an overview. So if you want to ask questions, everyone who's watching, please do it in the Q&A. Obviously our panelists, if you have questions, just ask them. Yeah, we will start with an introduction of the panelists. And then we will go over to see what are providers doing, then see what are hoteliers doing. But obviously we want all of you also to let us know where you are from and where you're working. So we will include a poll. And Lena, you can do it right now as I will explain how the introduction works. You can already drop the poll if you want to, the first round, so everyone can answer those questions and we can have a look at it as well. So we know a bit where are you watching from and are you an OTA, are you a provider, are you a hotelier? So we have a bit of an idea who's watching. Please feel free to do it. You should see it now. For my lovely panelists, please introduce yourselves with a name, company, and explanation what you do. And as we do it during hotel camps, please use a hashtag to describe yourself. Can be something personal, can be something related to work. It's totally up to you. I would say, as I'm seeing people, I would start with Alex.
Hello, my name is Alex. I'm working as the head of digital for 24 Hours Hotels. So overlooking the whole digital communication with our customers for the whole company. And my hashtag would be nerd in team, switch to home office with garden.
Okay, Philippe.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thanks, Lisa, Lena, Daniel, for organizing that. Thanks for having us. It's really nice. I'm Philippe from Pace. We're a science-based revenue management platform. So it's a suite of tools that has a pricing engine that does real-time pricing, that has an analytics platform, and that has a few other tools as well. My hashtag would be hang in there, out of sympathy for all of the hoteliers, all of the people in the industry that are affected by the crisis. And also because I'm pretty sure we'll get out of it. Things might be different then, but we'll get out of it.
Good one. Khristina.
Hi everybody, I'm Khristina Ridge. I am the Group Revenue Manager for JMK. We own and operate a number of hotels in the UK and Ireland. I'm actually based at home at the moment, which is very interesting. Being at home for quite a long period of time is a bit strange. My hashtag is all in this together, only because, as Philippe said, we are in this together, and it's about learning together and being able to build together to get that forward foot so that we are prepared for the future.
Thanks a lot. Pontus.
So now I'm unmuted. Hello everyone, my name is Pontus Berner. I'm the co-founder of berner+becker Revenue Management, where we do outsourced revenue management, consulting and training. So really offer a true alternative for hoteliers to hiring their own revenue managers. So with some of the smartest brains in the industry and the best tech available, we always seek out to make the best profits for hotels. So my hashtag is make the most of it. I think we are all in a very tumbling time at the moment, but we try to use it as good as possible. And even though there's a lot of dark sides to the situation, to try to see the bright ones and to think ahead and prepare ourselves and our clients for the hopeful upswing that we hope comes sooner rather than later.
Thank you very much. Then we have Maria.
Hi everybody, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Great to be back. So firstly, thanks for having us again, second time on the panel. Maria Macree, RMS Cloud. So we service 6,500 properties globally. We do full property management online distribution. So we're still in a very lucky positioning within our client base. My hashtag would be working mom going crazy. Not that different for me really, because I work from home 80% of the time, but trying to juggle a 1-year-old and work at the same time is very testing now. And you know, again, just to echo what you've all said, really, we've got to stay focused, keep going, keep smiling. But yeah, very much looking forward for some form of normality to resume. Really like to take on any questions about how hoteliers, service departments, anybody on the call today is dealing with, again, working from home, and what they're doing really, if they are operating and if they are open, how they're handling check-ins. Quite interested to share with you how some of our customers are doing self-check-in. So there's no engagement, of course, to keep it as safe as possible, and how they're, you know, certainly trying to do as much direct emphasis on their marketing and their correspondence to obviously try and combat against the OTAs. So yeah, looking forward to today's call. Thank you.
We'll come to that for sure. So then we have Patrick.
Unmute. Hey guys. Yeah, my name is Patrick. Based in beautiful Amsterdam, as you can see behind me. I work for Revenate, been with Revenate for a little more than 4.5 years. What does Revenate do? So we started 10 years ago with guest feedback, so reputation management, post-stay survey. And then 5 years ago, we pretty much realized hotels have a system to manage their rooms, which is the PMS, but they're actually lacking a system to manage their guests. So we built a guest-specific CRM, maybe you can call it. So we worked on that the last 5 years. And then beginning of this year, we merged both platforms. So we have the guest feedback part and we have the guest marketing, guest CRM part. And we now call that a guest data platform, where, you know, being connected to the PMS, monitoring the upsells, getting the survey results, all of that feeds into one guest profile. So it's all in one place. So you have the 360 view of your guest instead of all the silo solutions. Getting to my hashtag, I would definitely call that one tribe. That's what we, you know, call ourselves at Revenate. And I've really seen that development in the industry over the last weeks as well. You know, everybody's sharing bits and pieces and kind of helping out each other. So the industry is really moving closer. So hashtag one tribe, we're in this together.
Perfect, thank you so much. Then we have Valerie.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Valerie Castillo, and I work at TrustYou. We are also an all-in-one guest feedback platform, and we're all over the globe. So our headquarters is actually in Munich, Germany, and I'm actually here over in the US. I'm on the East Coast, right outside of Washington, DC right now. So we got some fair warning with our colleagues in Japan and APAC about what was coming, but I don't think we ever thought it was going to hit so hard as it did when it finally got to Europe and then the US. So, but I agree with all the fellow panelists. We're all in this together. But I'll try to come up with something clever for a hashtag, just what I'm doing in my free time. So I would use hashtag Netflix addict. When I'm definitely kept busy with work most of the time, but in my free time I am binging quite a few new TV shows and movies. So if anyone needs any recommendations after this, you can contact me.
Awesome. So we have Lena.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute as well. Yes, I'm Lena from OpenSmile, and I started, now it's been actually 2 months. I started as Director of Business Development, and at OpenSmile, we're a storytelling agency and we specialize on hospitality. And our services are websites, then ODA, this is an outsourced digital agent who's gonna take care of anything digital from May on. And then, video production. Sorry, I was thinking like, what am I forgetting? Video productions. This is training videos to basically help you setting your standards, but also like telling about your product. So basically all about storytelling. My hashtag, stay well, I think, because like everyone is keeping up with everything. We are trying to adapt to the current situation, and I feel like, especially like when you're in your apartment, when you don't have that much social contact, it's all about like how you keep up, and it's about staying well, staying healthy.
Perfect. Then we have Daniel.
First of all, I have to apologize because I must be the worst slide operator ever because I always forgot to scroll through the next slides when someone else was speaking, so apologies for that. That was me. I'm the founder of the Hospitality Industry Club of OpenSmile and the co-founder of Tech Talk Travel, which is an education platform for the hospitality. And I will not dive into, once again, all the things we do because Lena just did. And I'm heading, my hashtag. Hashtag personal trainer, because I will need one after this. Not today, but after, after all this break. Anyhow, okay, back to Lisa.
Okay, awesome. So thanks a lot for introducing yourselves. We will start into a round of, well, different questions, but I don't want it to be a lot me question or asking questions to you. I would prefer to be an open discussion, so please feel free to just answer. If I see that you don't, obviously I will pick out people because then it's easier, but feel free. I don't want to be like moderating. Last time when I ended this, I said, wow, I'm the new host. What's it called, Lena, in English? Arabella talk show.
Oh yeah, the talk show moderator.
Talk show host.
Yeah. Talk show host, moderator.
I was like, and you, and what do you think? Things. So I would prefer to be a bit more of a conversation. So feel free. But first of all, obviously, I need to know: is everyone healthy? Are you all okay?
Yes.
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 Okay. That's most important. Pontus, you said before you are not in Munich. You are in Sweden. What happened?
Yes, I fled my second home. Let's say I on the 12th of March, just to go quickly backwards, I flew to Mexico for a wedding, and obviously had to get back a lot sooner than I originally had planned from Mexico. So it was quite a tricky way to get back. In the end, I flew with another airline via London to Geneva and took a rental car to drive to Munich. from then on, I was 2 weeks in quarantine by myself, and I'm a single man. So after 2 weeks, I started climbing a little bit on the walls, I assume, like most of you. But yeah, being completely alone, and having my family and my sister living at the countryside in Sweden, I took the decision to pack my car and drive up to Rostock, took a ferry over, and since 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks now, I'm here. And I think it was a very nice decision for, if I look for myself. It's obviously a bit different, the strategy or the restrictions here than in Germany. And I feel a lot more freer, obviously, but I think most important, I have some human connection with my sister and her dog, and seeing my dad on a on a big distance on the outside because he's 74. But it was definitely the right thing to come, and I was even kite surfing in 5 degrees water last weekend, so I could enjoy my Easter weekend a bit. But yeah, so it's a bit different, but I think you know, no one can know which country does the right thing. Everyone is in a different part of the evolution curve, let's call it. But I think everyone can maybe be thankful in a way for Sweden to, let's say, show the other way and the other example. It could probably be a good learning for the future, then, to see how countries could potentially open up a little bit more. But yeah, here restaurants are open, cafes are open, people are out. I'm on the countryside, so it's not so busy here anyway, but yeah, that's the reality over here.
Okay, okay. And Khristina, you're in Dublin, right?
Yeah, I am, and it's lovely. It's really nice. It's unusual to be home because I travel between the UK and Ireland 3 days a week. I'm usually in London, so I'm usually hopping around Hammersmith or Ealing. So I miss my routine. I miss getting on the plane early in the morning. I'm almost certain I'll get a divorce after this. And I might need to go to AA. I've got amazing biceps from lifting bottles of wine and gin, but it is different. It is tough. The hotels here in Ireland, majority of them are shut down. A lot of the hotels in Dublin in the city centre are shut, and then obviously rural Ireland is the same. It's a bit surreal. I don't think it's something that either of us in our time would have ever predicted we would see. And for countries that didn't have SARS affected, such as Ireland, we never had anything to do with SARS, really. We just had that big recession a few years back, just like everyone else in the world. It's crazy. I think there's going to be a big focus in the future on social distancing still, because obviously everything is still shut down for quite some time. In Ireland, the lockdown is now extended to the 5th of May. It'll probably be extended again after that, but you could probably see key workers coming back, or non-essential workers, if you want to call them that, from the likes of the shops and the restaurants. They'll trial to open some shopping centres first, I'm pretty certain, see how that goes, and then go from there on. I think hotels will be the last thing to open, which is scary for our industry, because in Ireland, our industry is so big. We deliver so much to the exchequer, but just like everyone else, there hasn't been that much help from the governments to keep our industry afloat and keep us afloat, essentially keep us in our jobs in a lot of cases. So yeah, it's interesting.
And what are you currently doing? Working in a
hotel
or in a hotel in general? What are you, your colleagues, what are you doing? Are you developing new strategies? What will happen in 2 months, 3 months?
I'm constantly working. I'm down to a few days a week at the moment, just like everybody else across the world, but I'm still working nonstop. We have been very proactive in what we're doing towards the future. So I've taken this time and I've really kind of processed this whole mindset that we don't have time to do everything. So now we have the time to be looking at the content that we have, or pictures or imagery or comp set or STR, where we're positioned in markets, or rates, merging profiles. I went back to doing a night audit recently enough. So yeah, I'm basically doing everything we should be doing on a day-to-day basis, but we just haven't had the time to be able to focus on. And cluing into, scrapping the advanced purchase rates, because I think so many customers have been burnt in the last 4 to 5 months with advanced purchase, especially with the coronavirus now and our lovely partners in the OTA world, that I think the advanced purchase is kind of a dead duck for a lot of places. So we're moving into a little bit different realm of like semi-flexes. So that's what I've been doing, as well as building stuff in the back ends of the systems and general chat with everyone, making sure everybody else is okay and our agents are okay and our contacts are okay, because you need to keep these guys in the loop. you need to think of the corporate people, you know, your people who are sitting in Google, your people who are sitting in Facebook and Citibank. You need to talk to them as well so that they know we're still here, we're still open. How are you guys? Are you guys okay? Do you need muffins? We'll send you muffins. You know, it's that personal contact. And I've become a big fan of virtual coffees, virtual gins, as well after 5 o'clock, I'd like to point out, just in case my boss is online. But you know, and that's it, because you don't have that social interaction with everybody else. And that's the hardest part. I see Peter Collins is on this as well from the Academy Plaza. Hi, Peter, next door neighbor. And it's good to see that people engage in these platforms to be able to kind of get that feedback and learn from others as well. Because there's other hoteliers who are sitting on furlough at the moment who are doing nothing and aren't bothered about doing anything because they believe, well, I'm not being paid to do anything, so I'm going to do nothing.
Lisa, now you know how I feel when I go on a camp to Dublin or to London and Khristina is there, because I will just say hello in the beginning and then she takes over.
Oh God, she asked me a question, Daniel.
It's your own fault, Lisa. You asked the question.
No, that was good. But I would like to refer to Valerie right now. Can you tell us what facts and figures you're looking at the moment? So obviously, how's the situation for you all, because you're worldwide, as you mentioned before. And then obviously you work all the time with facts and figures. And what is it that you are looking at right now?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, we are a guest feedback platform. So the data that we have to look at is mainly guest reviews and feedback. And as you can probably predict, and from the hoteliers on the call, probably another thing that has slowed down with your occupancy levels is the amount of reviews that you're getting about your hotel. When guests aren't checking in and checking out, the review volume is obviously drastically decreasing. So we kind of, because we sit on this data, we wanted to first track, you know, how steep the decline will be in guest reviews. And we think that that's probably pretty indicative of how much the occupancy is also decreasing in hotels in particular regions. So we wanted to see that on a global level. So I think we have a slide that we can present with our global travel health index.
Daniel? I'm sorry, Valerie.
In the meantime, Lisa,
you mean
Emmanuel
the
is
blue one
there
or the
as
white
well.
one?
Yeah, I've seen it, but
okay, great.
Let Valerie do her her thing.
Valerie,
and
this one?
to Emmanuel, yes, that's one. No, that's the Repnate one.
I think it's a different one.
The other one? Okay, I have it. Stay with me.
So basically, we created this global travel health index, and the formula to create it is pretty simple. We're looking at the amount of reviews that we received within this past week. So you can see the score here, the week ending April 12th, and we compared that to 2019 numbers to see if there was growth, decline, whatever it might be. As you can see, with 100 being kind of the best that you can even be over 100% if you are in a growth year. We are all the way down to 4% of the amount of reviews that we saw during the same time period last year. We've been tracking this now for about 4 to 5 weeks, I would say. In the beginning, we were seeing about 68% down to 45%. And then we saw a very drastic decrease the week ending April 5th. So last week it was all the way down to 9%. So this 3% decrease from last week is kind of showing that we've really hit the bottom. We might see, 1% decreases every so often over the next couple of weeks, but this is very, very low in terms of the review volume. The reason that we put it out there, though, wasn't to, have sad information for forever. We hope that we'll also be able to track the uptick. So we're tracking this global travel health index on a country level. So right now you could go to TrustYou.com/travel-health-index. And you can see all of the countries broken down. And we are starting to see upticks. So now in China, in Taiwan, we're seeing about 19%, 13%. So a little bit of an uptick. Once we're into 20% ranges, we're seeing that that's probably where the increase will stay. So we're looking forward to just using our data and delivering to customers, when certain regions are going to be waking back up and when occupancy levels might be coming back. And for now, while the review volume is pretty low, I would say a best practice that I can just share quickly is, you know, to dig into the data that you have currently. So if you're not busy with responding to reviews right now, you don't have a lot of influx and you don't need to, you know, maybe combat a negative review at this time, it might be a good idea to start digging into those data with your reputation management softwares, and seeing, you know, what you can improve upon at your hotel. Also, as Khristina was saying, you know, maybe a good time to start adding reviews to your website as a piece of content that might have been part of your to-do list, but not as a high priority. So taking that review content that you have and putting it on your website can also help for the future when bookings are going to get more competitive, as I said, once the crisis is over and things start to go back to normal.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Emmanuel, welcome. I hope you are well. You need to unmute yourself. You're still mute.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you now. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, and my apologies. Good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon. Have you just so quickly, because you missed the beginning, maybe you could introduce yourself real quick and let us know where you are at the moment and if everything is okay, and how are you monitoring the situation right now as a hotelier? 3 things.
Well, very quickly, yeah, my name is Emmanuel, Group GM, and just previous to that, I was Group with the same company, Group Cluster Revenue Manager, Central London, 4-star hotels, and as previously a Cluster Revenue Manager, of course, you're always taught to, you know, to think about the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. The situation in London, yes, it's very dire for hotels. And very quickly, my hashtag, because as a strategist, is in the midst of all this destruction, we have to somehow together think about working together to begin the reconstruction. It's very important to move on as quickly as possible and to try and read what the imminent future may look like, and to work together in trying to piece it together and work together in building things. That's basically who I am and what's happening here.
Awesome. And in general, how are you as a hotelier monitoring the situation? Khristina, for example, said she's taking the time to do everything that she always wanted to do, almost strategically, because she never had the time and now she has. What's your angle on all this? What are you doing currently?
Well, as GM, one of the main roles really is guest relations, and of course, in the last few weeks, it's all been like obviously some other panelists and guests have pointed out, is that from a hotelier's point of view, you're just dealing with negativity, really, cancellations and people who want to change dates, and so there's a lot of firefighting, but obviously you're trying to steady the ship. But it's extremely unusual circumstances, because also there isn't enough income and revenue for hotels to keep going, or for you to be even certain that the few staff that you have now are going to be able to come tomorrow. Or so it's a very difficult situation. And where we're at, the hotel is almost certain about to close in maybe 1 or 2 weeks' time, because I don't know if you know, in the UK and in London's got the highest rate of fatalities, and the peak hasn't quite hit yet. So of course, you know, I work mostly from home, but in terms of a lot of guests have spoken about, whether hoteliers or otherwise, about when things get back to normal and whenever that is. But I'm a strategist, I'm a realist as well as being an optimist, all in one. Now, I'm pretty sure that what's normal, whenever it's going to come back, is not going to be the same normal. It's going to be very, very different. People are going to have less money. Lots of business will go out of business. Lots of hotels. So rather than obviously preparing for what's going to happen, we have to try and piece it together somehow as to what the new norm is going to look like. Otherwise, any strategy and any preparation will be mostly wasted, I would say. And this is what I've been thinking about, from the data, from speaking to guests, from speaking to other hoteliers. Just an idea of what it's going to look like in 2 months' time.
Yeah. Do you have one?
Yes. I mean, obviously most of the summer, of course, in London is one of the top cities in the world. So most of the summer is going to be obliterated, it's going to be destroyed for London and London hotels. So it's really having to think about how to survive the winter on a lower ADR, on lower RevPAR, on lower occupancies. And so it's really about streamlining things from now, and I would say gearing up for the winter rather than the summer. The summer is now kind of finished, really. And also in terms of the OTAs as well, and the agents and the different, anyone who knows, of course, about revenue, is that you have different market segmentations, OTAs and corporates and wholesalers. Now, a lot of them will go out of business. So again, that's going to look very, very different. So I would say it's about operating on a much smaller scale for at least 6 months after things begin to kind of not come back to normal, to whatever sort of situation that we're going to be faced with.
Yeah. Okay.
This is, so I'm still thinking about how to piece it all together, really.
Yeah, sure. I think that's basically what everyone's doing right now. Philippe, I assume that you have spoken to a lot of hoteliers as well. What is your impression? What are they telling you? What are they doing to stay alive?
Yeah, I have spoken to lots of hoteliers these past few weeks. And I think at the start, at least, no one, I mean, we're all saying the same thing, right? No one was expecting this when it started in the East and came to us. And I think it came as a big shock to everyone in industry, hoteliers, providers alike. And what we're seeing now is, after that first wave and that first pretty big shock where hoteliers were basically dealing with cancellations, operational problems, furloughing staff, actually closing down the properties in lots of places, I'm starting to have conversations now with hoteliers who are saying that the flow of cancellation is now done. It's obviously not picking up really, really well, even for future dates, because there's still lots of uncertainty, but there's more time to get ready. And I completely agree with you, Emmanuel, that we'll have a new normal. It's going to be really, really, it's really, really hard to understand what the new normal is. One really cool idea or things that you could be doing when things get back to normal, it's not from me, it's from one of our partners, is the same way that things will not be completely normal when they start again. The different geographies will not get back to picking up at the same time, and the same way we do it at Pace, when we're trying to push our product and to speak to hoteliers, we're looking at what geographies, and currently it's more Asia, what geographies are actually starting again, where we could have conversations. Same way for hotels. What I would do is put Google Analytics, or go to Google Analytics if you have it on your websites. Try to speak to your account managers at OTAs, our beloved OTA friends, and wherever possible, try to understand from where are people looking you up. Because when things start again, domestic markets, we all know that will pick up first, but some people will travel, and depending on the borders being closed, things like this, I think there's an opportunity to understand from where are people looking you up, and then concentrate marketing on these destinations. So that's an interesting one I've been hearing these past few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I think so. Thank you very much. Philippe, I know that Patrick brought also a slide. Daniel, your turn again. Patrick, can you let us know what you are actually doing right now? And I assume you have also spoken to hoteliers, and what do you think the data they have they have on their databases the whole time? What shall they do now with those data, with those names and emails and everything they know about the guest?
Yeah, I think these are the ones that I agree with Valerie. You know, as we also pull in the reputation data and review data, looking at that is a good time right now, and reviewing that, you know, what you can improve in your hotel. But on the other side, you know, the key thing right now for us or our partners is looking at, you know, the historic PMS data you have. You know, that's our focus. That's a revenue focus. we're pulling in all the guest data and we're putting that in the right, brackets. We're putting that in the right segments. So then you're really aware of, what database are you actually sitting on, and how can you use that? And now that Daniel found my slide, let's, what I'm doing is I'm joining these webinars and I'm getting bits and pieces of information and trying to stitch it together. So what you see here, and Philippe also just mentioned that, domestic travel is going to be huge, once things, pick up again. And
Daniel, can you zoom in, please? Sorry. Can you zoom in the graphics? Yes, way better. Thank you.
So, every week there's very interesting STR webinars where you get to see how the market is already picking up in, for example, Asia. And if you see that Europe is kind of 2 months behind the development there, and by now they're already back to kind of 50-60% of occupancy. So you see the market is picking up. So if the same is going to happen here, and in 2 months, people are going to travel again, which is, dominantly going to be leisure travel at the beginning, then followed in the second step by business travel. And if you then look at this chart that I grabbed the other day, and you see, for example, for one of the core markets I focus on, which is Germany, where you see 88% of business comes from domestic travel, and domestic travel is going to, pick up in the first phase. So that's going to be a very strong market towards the end of the summer. So if at the same time, on the upper right side, and that's one of the surveys, that we made, where we asked our, clients, hoteliers, we talked to them and said, how important is it to you to actually communicate with your guests at this stage? And you already see here that 72% say it is very important. So now if you stitch those ends together, and this market is going to pick up, it's going to be focused on domestic, and you will require the ability to talk with the right people at the right time. That's really then where we come in place and where we see great opportunity, because at the end, it's not enough just to send out a newsletter and say, hey, we're open again. You want to make sure that you target the right people at the right time using historic guest data, targeting your domestic travelers with the right packages. People are probably not going to fly. I just read this morning, most people say they're going to jump in their car rather than fly or get on a train. So there's a lot, I think, for hoteliers to do at this stage, and really segmenting and targeting, preparing all this for when business is going to pick up. And it will pick up, and we already see it in some of the Asian markets. They're back to 50-60%. So a lot to do with data, a lot to do with communication, keeps us busy, keeps our partners busy, keeps hoteliers busy.
Yeah. Maria, I assume that you agree, because working for a PMS, you and your clients have more or less the same databases. So what is it for you? What are you telling hoteliers to focus on right now?
Well, the thing with this virus, it's kind of all or nothing. So the few operators that are still operating are doing incredibly well. And the ones obviously that are closed, probably 80% are very much hit by it, as we all are in many different ways. Of the hoteliers, service department providers that are currently open today, it's all about self-check-in. It's all about they're doing direct promos. They're looking ahead at how they can just try and, as little as possible, be reliant on the OTAs for when they do start to come to open. And earlier, I think Khristina raised a really valid point about kind of advanced purchase. Everybody's going to be, going for the same lowest rate possible. Everybody's going to be almost fighting for that business. So it's about, being fair, but also I think lowering their ADR, and unfortunately the RevPAR will suffer. But yeah, I think, overall it's all about rate strategy, frictionless check-in, because many hotels do that very well. You'll check out, you'll see nobody, but it's very much now about that for checking in as well. So with our guest portal, people can prepay online, they can do an advanced check-in. So they arrive at the property, they've just got their key card or their thing to sign. So I think a lot of our properties and operators are actually saying, well, how many of us are traditionally using a registration card today? You know, the paper-based, good old school facility where you'd sign something at the desk. And I think this is really making everybody reevaluate their processes and what they're doing day to day. And now, you know, I think as we've all said, we've got that time on our hands to really reevaluate how we are doing business, because this isn't just going to be normality in 4, 6, 8 weeks. This is going to go on for many, many months. Who knows? Nobody knows. So it's really about as little as engagement as possible, keeping ourselves but our customers safe. And yeah, generally that's the feedback and the conversations are having, you know, around the globe, in the UK, Europe, Australia, America. All of our you know, our teams are having, really.
Okay, thanks for the insight. Pontus, I know you already told us what your travel was from Germany to Sweden, but you are affected as well. You don't have a software that you can offer to hoteliers. You are an outbound revenue management team. Can you explain a bit how this affects you, not having really a software and having data that you can support hoteliers with? What is it for you now?
So it affected us a lot, obviously, because it affects the hotel industry so much. And, you know, we work as a part of the hotel team in that sense. So we saw it obviously firsthand as group reservations started to cancel, and then everything else. And many of our clients have closed their hotels for a certain period. So usually for April and May, and some people have now hopes to open up again in May. But otherwise, actually, can I share my screen if that's possible? I would like to show you something that could bring some value. I'll try it.
Should be okay.
Yeah.
Should have sent it to us before.
Can you see this?
Yeah, we can. I can see it.
Yeah, great. So this is sort of the recovery report from the Kompetenzzentrum Tourismus des Bundes, and be happy to send this out and share it to all participants afterwards. But I think what the point I want to make, looking at, let's say, this slide here. So if you talk about what's important, sorry?
Maybe because it's in German and obviously English speaking people only, maybe you can...
I will translate a bit.
Yeah. While you're explaining, that would be
yes. So I think what we see with our clients now, I mean, obviously the pickup is not there. You cannot do so much with pricing and optimizing and, you know, squeezing out here and there. But when I talked earlier in the introduction about make the most out of it, one part of that is obviously what actions can you do now? And we see things such as, you know, as companies, you need to, as a hoteliers, now they need to deal with banks, they need to deal with insurance, they need to deal with the government to get funding and support. And for that, for example, a forecast scenario in different, like an optimistic, a realistic, and a pessimistic is something very helpful. And we did our internal one per segment that Emmanuel talked about before. But then yesterday this came out, and this sort of shows we have an optimistic scenario here to the left, a realistic in the middle, and a pessimistic to the right. And you have a phase basically called shutdown, Lockerung, so that would be when the restrictions sort of ease up a little bit, Belebung, so that's sort of the recovery period, and Normalisierung, that's then the normal state where they sort of talk about the goal of that is to sort of be at the 2019 levels again. And if we just go through, let's say, a realistic scenario, that means that this would be until lockdown until mid-May, a time frame where we sort of ease up restrictions until end of September, a sort of revival going to end of June 2021, and basically as from end of June 2021 we would look at a fairly normal scenario again that would but still like go on all the way until June 2022 before we're back at 2019 levels. And I think that's important to, and no one can guess now what exactly will happen and when. The important thing, I think, is to realize that there can be different scenarios, and you should prepare yourself with actions per scenario so that you keep yourself agile and that you can react to the current state, because you can't do much more than following the current state. We did an internal document for forecasting guidelines per segment, where we looked at, can fairs and events take place? When does corporate travel come back? When does transient tourism travel national come back? When does the international come back? When does business group come back? And when does international leisure groups come back? And again, here we did that in 3 different scenarios, and this is 2 weeks old now, and we use this to approach our clients with doing forecasts. So with things like this is what Emmanuel talked about before. I think for sure, I mean, like we all said, domestic travel is going to start coming back sooner. We see, for example, some of our clients at leisure destinations up on the Baltic and Nordic Sea coast. They have actually very good pickup for the summer. So you need to, obviously, I'm going to stop sharing now, but so you need to, I would say, make sure with marketing efforts, like you guys spoke about, like Patrick as well, make sure if you're a hotel and you had 80% foreign clients before, you need to completely revamp the way you try to find your target market and focus on getting a lot more domestic to sort of live out the midterm now before things come back. Because as we can see, this is going to take time in any case.
Thanks for sharing, Pontus.
Cheers.
Alex, now it's your turn. I kept you last.
No problem, no problem.
I did it on purpose, actually, because I know 25 hours is always doing something extra, always doing something different than others, always a bit ahead of time as a obviously as a company, but as a hotel group as well. So from you, I think it is the most important to know what are you actually doing right now, not you yourself only, but in general the group, and what has worked and what hasn't, because things have changed, right? We've been home more or less 4 weeks. People adapted to it. So let us know what has become different, what has changed in the last 4 weeks, 2 weeks. Share.
Yeah, actually everything changed by 180 degrees. What really we are working on several projects, and actually all of us, even if we are in short time work with all our hotels and the head office 24 hours hotels, we do have a lot of projects. On the one hand side, we really try to keep up on the actions. Some others already mentioned, going through all the cancellations and trying to not let people cancel, or give them the opportunity to rebook their stay, or to offer them a voucher instead of really canceling all their bookings. On the other hand side, and who don't know 25 hours, we do have a very strong focus on our restaurants and bars, and usually didn't care that much about takeaway and delivery. So we switched our complete systems and economy to takeaway and delivery for all our restaurants, and even start working on offers where the bar and wines is included. We, as a lot of other companies, we fairly early started offering home office or hotel office rooms, and really promoting that through our channels, not using that much marketing spend, because as I think all our partners and competitors, we really see that we have to save our budget. Our benefit is that we do have a really strong social media focus. So we are able to communicate throughout all our social media channels, through our newsletters and all that stuff, that we are open. We do have still 7 hotels out of 13 open to our customers. Usually we, depending on the location, we have between 3% to sometimes 7% of occupancy. But we do also sell up to 5 to 6 hotel office rooms per day to our customers. So we do work, we do operate, and on the other hand side, a lot of our teams are working on projects to either have a strategy in place when we want to open up, and on the other hand side, we are working on long-lasting projects. Like now is the time to think of how can we get rid of cash in our hotels, or how can we make our voucher system more online focused, so really have a beneficial project for our customers when we are back in place.
Yeah, that sounds great. So has this doing the home office thing in a hotel, did that work? So are people really doing it? Do you have an idea?
Yes, they are doing it. Depending on really on the location, we sell about 3 to 5 hotel rooms, hotel office rooms per day. Even there are some bookers who book the like a whole week or for 3 weeks in a row. So this really works, and we see that that there is a lot of social media traffic as well. I had one social media post where actually a yoga trainer booked our hotel office room and did yoga classes because she wasn't able to do that from home with the kids in the background. So she's giving online classes in yoga from our hotel office, which is great. Also from sometimes of certain revenue, but also she's sharing that on her social media pages. So we're getting a lot of traffic from this channels.
Sure thing. So now social media really pays off, right?
Definitely, definitely.
It was always like, even though for smaller hotels, it's always like, yeah, we do it, but we don't really do it that well. So now would also be the time to really pick that up.
Definitely. It's like during the last week, I mentioned my other hashtag would be re-own your brand. So now it's time to really re-own your brand. Sorry guys, from looking all over your numbers, really work on what is your brand. So really go into the social media channels, keep in touch with your customers. I think a lot of hoteliers are doing this. Work on your website, doing SEO projects, so really keeping up front in terms ahead of our OTA partners, because they are not that good in really talking to their customers. They're usually doing the broad message, but we as a hotelier, we can really target our messages and talk to our clients directly, which is a very strong focus we do have at 25 Hours, and a lot of other hotels do have as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as Kayla asked, that question relates to what you just said, Alex, in the chat, whether you can confirm that people are really booking these rooms for work. That's really interesting. Just to emphasize on that, we spoke to a hotel group in Switzerland, which is our customer, and to 2 or 3 individual hotels in Munich and other cities in Germany. They do the same. And yes, it's not an enormous pickup on it, but I think in Zurich, they had like 8 to 10 rooms, which they constantly rent out for work. So it's a business model that works. It will not pay and give you the same revenues, obviously, as renting the rooms. And but at least it's something to maybe pay your electricity bill and to stay in communication and stuff like that.
And it's not, and do not forget, it's something which is beneficial for your employees, for your colleagues, because they are not sitting at home or at a lonely hotel. They do have really something to do. They have guests to talk to, and they have some customers to take care of, which is very important for us as a brand as well, because we only want to take care of our customers, but also want to take care of our employees.
And I think especially, sorry, Lisa.
Sorry.
I think especially as a brand that is based in multiple cities, I think that can have a really big effect in the future on your brand as well, because those people that now use that room for working in Munich, let's say, they might never stay in Munich as an overnight, but they actually might stay in Zurich or in Paris or in London if you have hotels there. Or with JMK, they might stay in Dublin the next time and not in London. So I think there's a counter effect there as well. And Kayla asked something else. Where was it? Whether they stay overnight as well is one of the questions.
Actually, the day room. So the hotel rooms are actually booked in as a day use room. So they are usually not staying overnight, but you're able to book for multiple days. So that's no problem. But usually those people who sit at their hotel office actually come in at 9 o'clock and leave at 4 or 5 p.m. So they use it as a usual office. Because here in Germany, also a lot of those WeWork spaces are closed as well. So they take it really as their alternative office.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's more questions, but maybe Lena wants to do that.
Yeah. Lena has a lot of questions, and I think Lena asked already. I would love to add her to the panelists if she wants to. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but at least you could talk, because you've been asking so many questions, which is great. But maybe, yeah, you want to join us. Lena, I think, is taking already care of it. Well,
but another question in the meantime, Caroline asked a question. So she's saying, are there any specific websites where you can list your home office hotel?
Yeah, there are several. We do have a list inside our internet. I try to share it later. There are special websites for Germany, 2 or 3. There's one specialized for Vienna, I think. And also, I think there's a Swiss page as well.
Okay. Would you be, Khristina, we don't hear you because you're muted, I think. But still, I don't hear you. Do you hear her?
No.
No.
No, you don't. What did you do in the meantime? Nothing?
Okay, in the meantime, let me add Katharina.
Hold that thought, Khristina, okay?
To join the discussion. Just a second.
Okay, just not to keep everyone waiting, I would love to have a look at our polls that we did in the beginning, because we totally ignored them. I totally ignored them. Maybe we could have a look at who is watching and from where. Maybe Daniel can help out as well, because he's also co-hosting in the backgrounds, technology-wise, while Lena is picking up.
Yes, Katharina is here. Can you say something?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, great.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Katharina.
I'm Kat. I'm joining from Switzerland, from Zurich, and we're a service department provider all over the DACH region. And we've done the same as Alexander said before for 25 Hours Hotel. We're renting out our apartments, any size, and that has been really, really cool meanwhile. And yeah, very cool feedback.
People are not afraid, right, to go out, which is a good sign, because if they wouldn't take the offer on right now, probably it would mean that they are like afraid of going out, of getting the virus, but they're not. So there's hope, right?
Exactly, and what we do is offering also special cleaning. So we said we're gonna do, like, we can do in and out on a day, but we said we're gonna do this. Hey, we have 2 or 3 days in between if someone is changing apartments or if some long stay is coming along. We have really these 3 days in between, depending on the demand, to make sure everything is nice and clean and disinfected.
That's a good one. So thank you, Lena, for putting up the poll. So we asked, where are you from, everyone who's watching, and what's your background? So we see we have a lot of hoteliers from DACH, but also from other regions other than Asia, USA, and UK, and Spain, for example, which is very interesting. So we are very happy that so many hoteliers are watching and maybe taking the advice from other hoteliers partners and also from the providers, which is really, really good. And also some consultants and tech providers, obviously. So that's a really good mix. For us, I think, yeah, as we are most known in the DACH region, I think it's obvious that most of people are watching from DACH. But yeah, thanks for sharing as well. Do you have any other ideas or that you are looking into right now that could be interesting for other hoteliers?
We have more questions coming in.
Okay.
All about the home office hotel. So let's go back to that.
Seems to be a good idea.
Yeah,
it definitely does. So there's another question asking whether you remove the beddings and is there any special catering offered?
So most of the rooms are actually fairly good equipped with a desk and a chair. Usually we include coffee and tea. For some hotels, we also have included part of the minibar. As some people might know, is already we're offering a bike rental with Schindler bikes. So actually people can use the in-room bike for a short round around the hotel. Nothing special actually. So really it's coffee, it's Wi-Fi, it's free of charge printing, and the room itself, so the desk. But if people like, they can also use it for a nap.
And perfect tap water within every 25 hours hotel as well, which is included.
Yes.
which is really good quality. There's another question as well, Lena.
Yes, I know. I was about to read it out. And the other one is, how does the cleaning look like for a home office room? Do you clean the whole room, including the beds?
Yes, we clean everything. So usually we ask the customer on beforehand if he arrives, if he needs the bed or not. But usually we leave it as a hotel room because it can be booked overnight as well. So we usually clean the whole room. Yes. It also, we applied our standards. Not that much. We are looking a little bit more on disinfection, but we already had a very high standard on cleaning the rooms already.
Is that something that you're including in a lot of your marketing? Because I would assume that people find that very important before they're booking something. Like they absolutely want to know that it's going to be cleaned properly. So before you get the booking, is that a question that's coming up a lot? And I foresee that coming up a lot when just regular guests come back to book at hotels too.
Funny wise, the most important question for our customers is, do I have unlimited free coffee and how fast is the Wi-Fi? Most of the people for Germany, they don't care about the cleaning. I think yes, a lot of people know that there is a very high standard for all the hotels. No, actually the most questions from what is coming in or via social media and emails is how fast is the Wi-Fi and how is the unlimited coffee offer?
Yeah, question to the other hoteliers and providers as well. Thinking back to the chart that Pontus showed before with the faster mid-range and very pessimistic pickup, right? So, and what Emmanuel said in the beginning as well, how long this might take until we go back to normal. Could that be an extra step in the meantime to say, hey, you know what? One floor of our hotel we will now dedicate to not co-working, but like working offices, because most likely WeWork will be out of business and many other shared co-working spaces as well. So especially in the bigger cities, could that be a business model? Obviously there's a smaller ADR, we all get that, because you cannot rent this for $150 a night or a day respectively. But could that be a business model to survive the next 12 to 18 months? What's your take on that?
I think it's a good way of processing business, especially because with social distancing, the hotels won't be able to have high occupancies. That's something that's going to be there for quite some time. I think we all have to get used to it. I think it's a really good way of getting revenue. I think people need to not be greedy about these. We're looking for it as an additional source of revenue. I've seen prices being put online on different brokers over the last few weeks that have ranged from €20, £25 to nearly £100, €100 for the day, which is quite extortionate when we're in a case of, pandemic, and people are trying to use these spaces to get away from home and get away from their kids to be able to work.
So the pricing would need to be adjusted. Well, maybe there's levels where you can say, hey, if you need it for one day, okay, it will be X. If you take it for 1 week or 1 month, then you are a revenue manager, you know better than I do. But maybe there's different models. But as well, Emmanuel, for London, is that a thing you could be picking up, or are you rather focusing on people that are really important for the maintenance of hospitals and stuff that you would rather bring into your hotel, as they maybe don't want to go back to their families at night or don't want to commute 1.5, 2 hours outside of London every day? What's your approach on that?
In actual fact, in central London, the local councils are looking for hotels to for two things really. It's not just for key workers. What maybe people don't realize is that also the homeless are being cleared from the streets.
Yeah.
So they're looking for hotels, but the rates that they're proposing is, I mean, a 4-star hotel normally charges minimum £130 sterling per night, but they're proposing £26 per night. So it's a very difficult thing to contemplate, is because not only of the ADR and the revenue and so on, but because of the testing in the UK and in London isn't as widespread as in other. We're far behind. So there is a health risk, there is the revenue element, and there is we'll never break even. It will always be at losses, but of course it's about minimizing losses. So the council, for instance, at this moment, they want thousands of rooms in hotels, but you know, I've been approached about this, but it's £26, and not only that, they're requesting a minimum commitment of 3 continuous months. So it's either key workers or the likes of homeless, or but then, and again, most of the staff have been, if you like, temporarily laid off. So it's a very, very difficult thing to manage. And for smaller hotels, things like this are probably much more manageable to cover costs and, you know, the utilities. And but the 4-star hotel what I am managing, it's only been open for 2 years. It's been, the owners spent millions and millions of pounds on it. So to have, of course, I have to be, you know, very careful what I say, but to have a lower grade of kind of people, it's a very high risk in terms of damage, and that would obviously could cost tens of thousands of pounds. So from my point of view, our point of view, with a lot of, also I have friends, owners who own 10 hotels. They've closed 9 and kept 1 open. So it's really about firefighting, damage mitigation, and the clear outcome here in London for the last few weeks and for the next few weeks is that the majority of hotels, the ones that have been doing well or not so well, they're just temporarily closing down for 2 or 3 months. They looked at all aspects, and they found this is really the best way to go ahead for the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
It's actually interesting you bring up that homeless topic. We had a conversation with a customer yesterday who runs a very big hotel in Munich, and they actually rented one of their floors with 125 rooms. It's a 3-star hotel for homeless people from Munich. And actually the government is paying them the entire floor, no matter how many people will be there. So maybe that's different from city to city to city, different from country to country, but maybe not for a 5-star hotel, maybe for 3-star hotels, that could be approached where
you should use it in that case for a good CSR purpose, and make sure to get media to tell about it, etc. If you do that part very well, I'm sure that you can get back that sort of investment and PR value, even if you need to clean the rooms a little bit extra or change something afterwards. We have one client in Munich. They also do, because Munich is this difficult housing market, right? But I think a lot of countries and cities where you are the same. And actually renting out hotel rooms as a long-term apartment for people looking for a place to live that for some reason were moving to Munich and they just had to go through with it, etc. You cannot think, just as with office space, I think you cannot think in normal terms of what you would charge for a hotel room. You need to think about housing market prices then and say like, okay, you have a room for 900 euros a month or whatever, and then you simply don't offer cleaning at all or something like this to manage your cost aspect and your profit margin. Just want to share one other example. We had a competitor of our client on Iceland that offered their rooms for corona patients actually. But that wasn't so well. So now it depends how you see it. But now that hotel is famous for being like the virus hotel in the market. So I guess that is there you need to be careful how you could potentially maybe hurt the brand image long term. Yeah.
Totally. But I think you need to think, we always need to think out of the box, but now it is crucial as it never has been. I think so. These are really good points to have a look at, and yeah, to think out of the box. We are 12 minutes past 6. Lena, do we have a wonderful, awesome, great question? If not, I think that we slowly need to close down, but really slowly.
We have actually 2 more questions, and I think we can answer them quickly. Both are related to the home office hotels. So the question is, on which channels are you offering this product, and are you planning to extend the number of platforms and websites, including OTAs? And does anyone have experience with renting out hotel rooms for hospitals or public services?
Okay, I think the one Katerina or Alex can answer. Where are you displaying this? Alex also said on various platforms, right?
There are 2 to 3 platforms, especially for the German-speaking markets. We do work is really focusing on our website. Our website will also, increases the traffic share of our website and makes it good for search engine optimizing reasons. We usually use our social media channels and with a very strong focus also on LinkedIn and Xing. So all our employees, sales and marketing, revenue teams share our offer via their business profiles, which actually took a lot of clicks and a good share of the news on those networks. Yeah. So the focus is on our own website, not working with the OTAs. We don't want to, but really keeping up our own channel.
Katerina, what's your approach on that?
I can just agree. We do exactly the same. Just like LinkedIn, own profile, own website, own social media channels.
Okay, awesome, great. Lena, can you repeat the second question, please?
Yes, just a second, because I already said we are answering it. So let me have a look. Okay, it was related to renting out hotel rooms to hospitals and public services. And the question is, do you have any experience, any positive experience with this one?
Anyone? Sorry,
I think from a brand perspective, we have gone in with quotes for that. Just like the other hotels in London, our quotes have been turned down, but they are very strict in how they operate. They can't guarantee payment, just so that you are aware. If they'd say you will get paid after a certain period of time, but you just need to be careful. You won't get a deposit. You probably won't get a full term payment. They are very careful with their workers, very careful with PPE. Your staff will need to be there. Your staff will be trained on how things operate, how they need to check in, check out guests, and you'll need to be able to provide proper food and beverage and also social distancing as well. So if you've got a big hotel, it's great. The rates may not be in your favor, to be honest with you. They're looking at £25, €30, €45 a head. But at the same time, it's better having that in your hotel than actually having your hotel closed and having to pay staff and try and flush toilets and remember to turn on lights and turn off lights and do these things.
Right.
For sure.
Lisa, before we close down, I have a final question as well to the group.
Final.
And that is, well, we see all these hotels and hotel brands being so creative and looking into new things and things they can change and whatsoever. Question out to our partners here that are actually service providers to the hotels. Is there anything like TrustYou, for example, is doing with the new index? Is there anything which you are taking action on where you try to reinvent your offering during Corona times on how you can help hotels actually, or how you can change your offering to adjust to the needs that currently exist? Open question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I brought up the question about cleanliness, because that was something that we, we're trying to figure out what's the data that we can get out of feedback that would help hotels market themselves. So is it the cleanliness score? Do they need to have some sort of certification now that they have sanitation stations or things like that? we also do provide a survey product. So maybe adjusting our survey templates to cater to different needs that a hotel is using their space for. So if it's now going to be more home office spaces or things like that, and the hotels are going to be used in a different way, how can we adjust our survey templates so that they can still get feedback, the hotels can still get feedback about their rooms and publish that, and get that user-generated content. So that's something that we're definitely considering. So this talk was actually very helpful for that, and I'll be bringing that back to my product development team right away.
Yeah, I think such an index and especially an icon or widget which you can integrate into your communication is very valuable for the hotels. And I think people like ourselves as well, if you just think about ourselves as a person, we would value these things: security, safety, traveling with my family. If I would see something like that, that would be at least a decision point towards I want to go there instead of somewhere else. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, Daniel, maybe me from the tech side. On the one hand, we see hoteliers now reviewing their tech stack, or thinking about adding something like a guest data platform, like specific guest communication products. We have a very strong focus right now in not just enabling that on the technical side, but adding as much expertise as possible during this time, because now really is the time. So some are renovating their hotels, some are reviewing other systems at the hotel. But when it comes to us, there's a lot of experience we can add, and doing that in a normal phase where everybody's super busy and it's hard to squeeze out one additional hour to sit down with Revenate and talk about the launch. Now there is more time, and that can also easily be done when someone's in the home office, maybe even better. So like anybody we're getting on board new, we're actually investing more time. We're making the launch easier, the ramp up phase easier. Now is the time, and we can make very good use of additional time when we launch new partners. So that's why on that side, it's really a good time. And there's a lot we can add.
Maybe we should go back to doing these email marketing masterclasses we did in Zurich, right?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
I think Philippe wanted to add something as well, right?
No, same as you, Patrick. Now is the time, I think, to spend more time, and for us, at the risk of sounding salesy, a tool like ours will be great when things start again, because it's going to allow hoteliers to very, very quickly identify the days where pickup is actually happening. So a lot of the effort we've been doing is finding the time with either existing customers to add more properties actually using the system, or doing new installations, and I think that will hopefully bring lots of value when the pickup starts again.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much. I think, no, I don't think so, but I saw it. Khristina already put up the second poll for us to have a look at what you think, what we should do better next time, because for us, obviously, the online thing is it's new as well. We usually hug and share ideas on a personal level, or during 40 people evening camp. So for us, this is important to know if we are doing it okay. For example, we see now that 14% would love to have more numbers. So to our lovely partners who will join us in the future, I will be more a pain in the ass to get them to send us slides with the numbers. So this is my learning, obviously. I want to thank you all, especially the panelists, of course, for taking the time, for joining us, for sharing your experience with us, which has been really, really valuable. And I think we all can learn from each other. So at those times, it doesn't matter if a hotelier learns from a provider, or provider learns from a hotelier, hotelier from hotelier. I think it is a mix. It has become a mix because we are all human, and I think we can all learn from each other. I want to thank everyone who has listened today, and probably who will be listening to the next sessions that we will have. Daniel, it's your turn again. The next session will be on the 23rd of April, so within 1 week. And we will also be asking again, obviously, what solutions are you currently implementing? and we want to know what you are doing, and to have a look and to share ideas again, and to have a look what's working actually, because as we know, we cannot even plan day by day, and I think solutions are changing day by day and week by week. So probably now we are talking about home office spaces in a hotel, and probably next week there will be like a new whole another idea and thing to do. So we are really looking forward to it. I have to say that the recording will be online within the next days. So we recorded everything, and everyone who could not participate obviously can have a look at it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social media channels that we are that we have. And again, thank you very much. And as we did last time, and which I really enjoyed, I would love all our panelists to close this session with a positive sentence. So one sentence, or at least really short, and close it down, give us positive vibes so we can survive until next week when we have the session again. Obviously we will survive everything, but yeah. So next session, I would love to start with Valerie.
Oh, darn. And I'm a marketer, so I should be able to come up with something like really quickly off the top of my head. But I mean, it's something that we just say within my family and everywhere. And I think someone actually used it similarly as a hashtag, but I would say be well. So I just hope that everyone will be well and strong during this time.
Perfect. Patrick.
Yeah, well, I think the best thing right now is if we all look out of our window. You know, we've been blessed with 3 weeks of sun, at least here in Amsterdam. As far as I can remember, that never happened. So that's a true blessing. So the sun's out, enjoy it as much as you can. Things will be okay.
Philippe?
Yeah, I think it same here in London, by the way, with the sun. I've never seen that in London in the past 4 weeks. It's crazy. But yeah, take care, be well. It's all going to be okay.
Perfect. Then we have Alex.
Oh, well, stay focused. There are good times to come, and I will close it with the 25 hours claim. Let's spend the night together next time we can.
Awesome. Pontus?
So be well, think forward, and come out stronger than ever before.
Thank you. And Maria?
Yeah, the same really as everyone said. The weather's been absolutely stunning here in the Midlands, in Shropshire, where I am in England. Just reevaluate, recharge, and we'll come through it together.
And Emmanuel?
Put our heads and hands together to start finding the keys to open closed doors.
Nice one. And Khristina?
Enjoy the time with your family, because once we come back, hopefully it'll be with a boom and we won't have any time for anything else.
And of course, Lena.
I really liked the session because it was so interactive, and all the questions and like the spontaneity to participate in the discussion. So I want to say, like, let's communicate, exchange, and be well.
Nice one. And last but not least, Daniel.
Yeah, I want to say reach out, because as well from a provider and partner point of view, we never had so much time to share our ideas and know-how and network and the feedback we get from our customers with you. So if you think about new strategies, whatever it is, reach out to everyone, not only the ones here in the call, but all your network that you have, and discuss and speak with each other and help each other.
That was really, really nice. I hope that you all stay well, take good care of yourselves, and let's stay positive. Better times will come for sure. And see you next week, same time, same place. You know the deal. Thanks so much to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Lisa, for the moderation.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Thanks all.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.